Hey guys, and welcome to Film Artsy, your number one source for all things films and movies. My name is Elijah, and with Avengers Endgame finally settling out, we have a huge future in the MCU that we're still really excited about, even with some core characters gone. So Avengers 5 will one day come, but which characters will make up the new Avengers team? Let's talk about it.
Agent Romanoff. You miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
Okay, so the first thing we have to talk about before we jump into the characters is the legacy of Avengers Endgame, because Endgame was literally so much bigger than anyone expected, and it honestly just kind of topped every Avengers movie that had come before. So really, it's going to be difficult for Avengers 5 to kind of build the same hype that the other Avengers movies had, specifically Endgame. So we were thinking that maybe it would be cool to do something new and build up a new team that doesn't necessarily try to be what once was great and does something different that can still be great, if not better one day. So as we thought about this, we kind of looked to the comics and we see that there's been the West Coast Avengers, the New Avengers, and A-Force. And we think that if they pivoted a little bit and built a new team from the ground up using one of those names, it could be really cool. Captain Marvel obviously is going to be front and center with whatever new team is in this thing. They really want Captain Marvel to be the future of the MCU. One interesting thing is, if you look, Thanos, the baddest villain we've ever seen in MCU history, honestly was just like not even that much of a threat to Captain Marvel. We see her completely headlock him and she gets headbutt by him and nothing happens. So one day when there's an enemy that is so threatening that Captain Marvel is in danger, we'll know that we're in for something extremely dangerous, which will help with the stakes down the road. So Captain Marvel is a key character. We also know that Captain America, which is now Sam, will also probably be an important character in the next Avengers movie. It'll be interesting because he doesn't have the super soldier serum, but might have access to some of his old abilities like being able to fly. So it'll be a new balance of a character, which we're curious to see how that plays out. We also expect Bucky to return, but maybe he'll see a transformation of his own, maybe fully taking on the White Wolf persona. We also think that in a way Hawkeye will maybe make somewhat of a return. He has a new Disney Plus show coming out, which might focus on him training someone to take over for him. Maybe it's his daughter. We kind of see an allusion to that at the beginning of Avengers Endgame, and maybe that's something that they will run with in the MCU and we'll see a new Hawkeye. Whether or not we see Ronan in the new Avengers 5 movie could still be up for debate, but it is interesting. Ant-Man and the Wasp is kind of another weird one because we haven't really seen much of Hope as the Wasp. So we'd really like to maybe see more of that and more of the team interaction because she's still relatively a new character and only had a small role in Endgame. And we are speculating that there will probably be an Ant-Man and the Wasp 3, and from Ant-Man and the Wasp 2, we kind of see them alluding to the idea that one day Cassie might take on the role as one of the two characters, and now that she's older as of Endgame, maybe we'll see the passing on of a torch and maybe she'll become a member of whatever team comes out next. We also have a couple of new characters on the way, such as the Eternals, which will be a really interesting dynamic in the MCU because they're much more celestial and less of a focus in what's going on Earth. And if the MCU is going to go more intergalactic and more towards space, it'd be interesting to see how these new characters kind of bring us there. We still have a lot of characters rooted in humanity, and it'll be interesting to see this new dynamic. Shang-Chi, on the other hand, is this character that comes from Asian descent and is typically associated with a Chinese character, which will be nice for some new diversity on screen, and hopefully they get a great actor to play this awesome character from the comic books and portray him well in the MCU. I'd really like to see Stephen Young play this character. I think it would be really great. Then we have Guardians of the Galaxy, which is in a really weird place because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming out sometime in the future, which probably will be a send-off to some of the characters. However, we fully expect some of the characters at least to be featured in whatever Avengers 5 ends up being. We think that there's still a lot that they can do with some of these characters, and we still want to see some more growth and maybe one more definitive conclusion. Or just keep him around forever. I'm down with that too. Thor is another weird character because he's been in the MCU for such a long time, and as they're going to continue to raise the stakes and make the enemies more and more threatening, he actually might be more challenged, and we still feel like he's going through his second character arc, and it's not really complete yet, and he's still looking for some sort of purpose. And we think that they can really do more with this character, and it seems like Chris Hemsworth is on board for a long time to continue to play Thor, and that's great for everyone. We also look to Spider-Man, who's very young and is probably going to be impacted heavily by the end of Endgame. As you can see, he's already terrified at the beginning of the movie, and it looks like he's going to be heavily impacted by Tony Stark's death. And if we think about it, this kind of mirrors Uncle Ben from the comic books and other Spider-Man movies, and maybe this will be a huge character development, and he will one day kind of feel responsible in making this next team and protecting humanity the same way that Iron Man did. It'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. Professor Hulk actually is really interesting because he kind of concluded a new arc, but then there's a ton of questions about this character too. We don't think he's going to be in a lot of MCU movies moving forward, but I think that when they bring him back, it'll be a really cool moment and a really good refresher for fans of the MCU for a long time. Doctor Strange is set up to have another movie coming out this year, and we think that they'll probably develop more of him. He's a pretty strong character, so it'll be interesting to see whatever threat kind of goes against him in whatever we see in the future. And then of course there's another Black Panther movie, so we fully expect T'Challa to make a return and maybe actually be more involved in this team than he got to be with the last team. Then we're getting into some theories that we're thinking about and that we kind of have talked about that we thought would be really, really interesting. There's of course talks of Miss Marvel one day becoming a character with Kamala Khan. That would be a really interesting turn and development for both Captain Marvel and just having another younger character, especially as Peter Parker gets older in the MCU and he will no longer be the youngest character. They can really still develop a lot of new characters coming up the ranks. Rescue is another interesting one because typically Rescue, which is an Iron Man kind of spin with a female protagonist playing as Rescue, typically Pepper Potts, which we saw in Endgame, would be really interesting to see in the new team. We don't think Pepper Potts will be in Avengers 5 though. Gwyneth Paltrow has said in the past that she really was ready to conclude the character in Endgame, and I think they even had trouble bringing her back for other movies after Iron Man, and they probably just paid her really well to get her to do Infinity War and Endgame. So there could still be use of a rescue suit though, and if we look, Morgan Stark, who's Tony Stark's daughter, could one day play as Rescue, or in a different way, maybe this would be something down the road like Avengers 6 if they don't do another time jump. But remember, Morgan came running out of the house when the Avengers approached Tony Stark asking for his help in time travel, and she said, "Mommy sent me out to rescue you." So maybe that's some foreshadowing as to what her role is going to be in the future of the MCU. It's a very interesting choice of words, and maybe that's something that they're working on in the background. Then we have a couple characters that we think might not return but could still potentially return. These are kind of the what if characters. Scarlet Witch, while we think we're going to see more of her through one of the characters somewhere along the way, and she has a Disney Plus show coming out, we don't know if she's going to be in the MCU long enough to really be on this new team. Maybe they're going to start branching the MCU and do several different teams now that Marvel has Fox, and they might start going down a new version of X-Men, and Scarlet Witch can kind of go into more of the mutants territory, which is where her character originated from, but we don't know. She could really go both ways. Nick Fury's another one where, in general, he doesn't really show up in the Avengers movies as much. He was in the first one, and he had a small role in Infinity War and Endgame, but we don't really see him too active now. He more has played major roles in Winter Soldier, Captain America, and Spider-Man Far From Home. So will he be in the next Avengers movie? It's possible, but we don't really know what extent this character is going to have. And finally, we're looking at Black Widow, who's in a really weird place because while she did die in Endgame and it was a major sacrifice, she does have an upcoming movie. And it's interesting that they're paying Scarlett Johansson $15 million to continue to play this character, even though the character is dead. While it could be a prequel movie and be interesting to see her character before everything, what if at some point, maybe a post-credit scene, has Captain America traveling back in time, Steve Rogers, and returning all of the stones? Technically, the Soul Stone requires a soul for a soul. So could he trade the Soul Stone to resurrect Scarlett Johansson's character back to life? Maybe. We don't know. That's a abstract theory, but I mean, it would make sense. It'd be in line with what they've done so far, where people have had to trade a soul to get the Soul Stone. Could it be bargained back the other way? We don't know. Plus, how would Captain America interact with Red Skull up on the cliff? But that's it for today, guys. Let us know what you're thinking. All right, guys, what did you think about this video? Do you guys agree with some of these character choices? Do you think this team will be as satisfying as the teams we've seen in the past? We'd really love to hear what you're thinking, and let us know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on for more videos just like this one. We'll see you all next time with a brand new video.
What's up, Dorito? Then, better late than never, Captain America, Chris Evans, crashes the interview. Hugs all around, but hey, where's Roxy?
I'm sorry.
Chris Evans.
You two are.
Hi.
You both are relevant. Great. Thanks.
Okay. This interview actually ended 2 minutes ago.
Kyle, enjoy this Team Iron wannabe man, but the right team is the only team, Cap.
No negativity from me.
Are you a baby?
Oh, wow.
Are you Avery? You're a pretty girl. Yes. Are you happy?
Hey guys, we hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you guys hit the like button down below and subscribe for more Film Artsy. If you guys want to showcase your talent to the world, Film Artsy is the best place for you guys to do it. Please submit your videos to filmartsyofficial@gmail.com, or you guys can click the link in the description. We really want to see what kind of talent you guys can provide. So let us know, send us an email, and we'll check out your videos, and we'll see you all in the next video.